Debbie sat in a hostel bed in the small room she shared with two other girls. The fan above made noise but didn't blow much air. Her phone's screen light was the only thing bright in the room. She kept scrolling through fashion pages online, admiring the clothes she wished she could make. Money was her biggest problem. Her school fees weren't paid, her sewing machine had a broken pedal, and sometimes she slept hungry. But even with all that, she still had dreams. She wanted to become a big fashion designer, someone whose name people would wear proudly. Her roommates didn't believe in her. One of them laughed and said, "Debbie, you'll use needle and thread biker." She didn't reply. Instead, she picked up her sketchbook and started drawing another design. That's what gave her peace. Every small cloth she sewed for classmates was another step toward her goal. She didn't know how or when, but she was sure that one day people would pay to wear her designs. That belief kept her moving, even when everything around her looked hopeless. After graduation, life became harder for Debbie. There was no job, no helper, and no real money coming in. She moved back to her mother's small kiosk in Mararaba. Every morning she sat there selling recharge cards and biscuits while thinking about how to push her dream again. She borrowed her aunt's old sewing machine and started sewing clothes for people in the area. The money she made wasn't much, but it kept her going. One day she decided to try something new. She started posting pictures of her work online, using her small technophone. At first, nobody cared. Sometimes her posts got only 1 or 2 likes, and they were from her own friends. But she didn't stop. She would wear her own designs, take pictures in front of her mother's shop, and write strong captions like, "One day I'll have my own fashion house." People started noticing her confidence. One customer told another, and slowly her name started spreading. Debbie began to feel proud again. She realized that even if she didn't have money, she had something better: skill and courage. One hot afternoon, Debbie decided to do a proper photo shoot. She asked her friend Chika, who had a better phone, to help her take pictures. They went to a plain wall near the market and took pictures of Debbie wearing her designs. When she posted them, she wrote, "Abuja's next top designer, watch this space." This time, things changed. A small influencer shared her post, and new people started following her. Within a few days, she got over 100 new followers. People started asking about her clothes, and she began getting real orders. She didn't have fancy packaging at a studio, but her design spoke for her. She stayed up late sewing, ironing, and delivering clothes by hand. Her customers were impressed. Some of them even tagged her online. That's how the name Debbie the Baddie started. She couldn't believe it. After years of struggle, her dream was finally taking shape. Success came fast, but it came with stress too. Debbie was getting more orders than her small space could handle. Her mother's sitting room became her workshop. Fabric was everywhere, and she barely had time to rest. Her machine broke down more than once, and she had to borrow money to fix it. Some friends who used to support her started acting funny. Others gossiped that she was forming celebrity. Debbie ignored them. Every day was a new challenge, but she didn't give up. She would tell herself, "This is the life I prayed for, and I'll handle it." Even when customers complained or delayed payment, she stayed calm. Deep down, she knew she was building something bigger than just clothes. She was building a name. As her fame grew online, Debbie started getting messages from men who claimed they wanted to support her. Some offered money, cars, and trips, but they all wanted something in return. One man from Lagos promised to invest in her brand if she would spend time with him. For a moment, she was tempted. She thought about how much that money could help her, but then she remembered where she started: her mother's small kiosk, her broken machine, her long nights. She told herself, "If I accept this, I will lose my respect." So she refused. Instead of chasing quick help, she focused more on her work. She began to style herself as the brand. Her beauty, confidence, and hard work became her marketing. People started buying into her story, not just her clothes. One day, Debbie got a phone call that changed everything. An event organizer from Abuja wanted her to showcase her designs for a local fashion show for upcoming designers. She screamed out on joy. She didn't have much money, but she used her savings to buy fabric. Her mother helped her cut and iron. For 2 weeks, she barely slept. She wanted everything to look perfect. The night of the event, she stood backstage, her heart beating fast. When her models walked the runway in her clothes, the crowd clapped. People took pictures. Debbie stood tall, smiling proudly. She felt like she was finally being seen for who she truly was, not just a pretty girl, but a real designer with vision. After the show, Debbie's social media page blew up. She got hundreds of new followers overnight. But with the attention came negativity. Some people began to say she was using her body to sell her brand. Others claimed she had a sugar daddy. At first, the comments hurt her. But instead of fighting back, she posted a short video of herself sewing and said, "Let hard work talk for me." That video went viral. Many young women started following her for motivation. Brands reached out to her. People finally saw that Debbie wasn't just another social media girl. She was the real deal. Months later, Debbie opened her first studio in Wusepu. She painted it white and gold, hung mirrors on the walls, and put her name in big bold letters, Debbie's Touch. Every morning when she walked into that space, she smiled. She had her own workers, her own machines, and clients waiting in line. Influencers and celebrities started wearing her designs. She still remembered the days when she sewed from her mother's sitting room. Now she could afford to pay her mother's rent, fix her own car, and even save money. She thanked God every day for how far she had come. As her business grew, Debbie did not forget where she started. She decided to teach other young girls how to sew. She started free online classes, showing them how to start small and grow big. Her followers kept increasing. People respected her not only for her beauty, but for her kindness. One day she was invited back to her old university to speak to students. When she walked into the hall, wearing one of her own designs, the same people who once mocked her stood to clap. She smiled and said, "Don't look down on your small start. That's how every success story begins." One evening, Debbie sat alone in her studio after everyone had gone home. The sun was setting and the orange light filled the room. She looked around and smiled. She remembered the hungry nights, the tears, and the long walks. Now she had her own fashion line, her own piece, and her name was respected. Her life had changed, but she stayed humble. Her phone rang. It was a big brand offering her a new partnership. She looked up and said quietly, "God, thank you. I made it." Debbie was no longer that broke student from Mararaba. She was now a strong woman who built her dream from nothing. And so ends the story of Debbie the Body. If this story touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who has a dream but feels like giving up. Let them know that small beginnings can grow into big stories if they stay focused, believe, and never quit.